On the 8th of August 1975, one of the biggest engineering failures occurred due to the poor management by the government system. The storm that toppled Banqiao blindsided the dam's designers, who had only built it to withstand a 1 in 1,000 year flood. For whatever design flaws the structure had, it might have survived if it weren't for the 1975 flood that was predicted to be a 1 in 2,000 year event. The storm produced a rainfall of 106 centimeters in 24 hours on a dam which was designed for 30 centimeters. The hydrologists, who had warned that the region's dam building binge was dangerous, had also recommended 12 sluice gates be included on Banqiao. In the end, only 5 had been installed, and even those were partially blocked by accumulated silt when the storm hit. The Banqiao Dam collapsed, sending water at 50 miles per hour, 10 meters high and 11 kilometers wide, destroying 62 other dams along its path. Approximately 26,000 citizens were killed in the flood, and about 145,000 died from farming, droughts, and medical injuries. However, people believe that it was actually over 220,000 citizens that died because of the catastrophe. Due to the major tragedy, 11 million persons were forced to move from the area. The government described it as a natural disaster, but it was really caused because of many man-made factors.
China has been plagued with severe flooding from time immemorial. The area where the weather systems from the North Central Asia meet the weather systems from the Southern Chinese Sea is a particularly hard hit. This is the region of the Hawaii River. In 1950, shortly after an episode of severe flooding in the Hawaii River Basin, the government of the People's Republic of China announced a long-term program to control the Hawaii River system. It was called Harness the Hawaii River. The name captured the dual purpose of the program: to control the river and prevent flooding, also to utilize the water captured for irrigation and to generate electricity. There were some flaws in the design of the construction of the Banqiao Dam, including cracks in the dam and sluice gates. With advice provided by the Soviet engineers, the dam was reinforced and expanded. The Soviet design was called an iron dam, a dam that could not be broken. Once the dam was completed, many smaller dams were built. Initially, the smaller dams were built in the mountains, but in 1958, the Vice Premier decreed that the dam building should be extended into the plains of China. The Vice Premier also asserted the primacy that should be given to the water accumulation for irrigation. A hydrologist named Shen Yang objected to this policy on the basis that it would lead to waterlogging and alkalization of the farmland due to a high water table produced by the dams. Not only were the warning of the engineer ignored, but the political officials changed the design for the largest reservoir on the plains. Shen Yang, on the basis of his expertise as a hydrologist, recommended 12 sluice gates, but this was reduced to 5 by critics who said Shen was too conservative. There were other projects where the number of sluice gates were arbitrarily reduced significantly.
China's ruler at the time was Mao Zedong. He was a leader that led in a way that everything needed to be done at an efficient but quickly manner. He used minimal resources as possible to cut costs to save money. This made structures not be at an international standard. The government wanted to use dams for irrigation as its main objective and flood prevention for its secondary objective.
The biggest challenge was China's rush to use dams to quickly boost its economic progress despite environmental concerns, the dislocation of families, and the safety issues raised by Probe International geologists, hydrologists Cheng Xing, and others.
Probe International pointed that 48.2 of the dams in the region were in zone of great seismic hazards, some built as close as 1 mile away from the convergent boundaries, where 2 tectonic plates are colliding.
Communication systems were poor and the dams were almost stacked on the rivers, with multiple companies being allowed to operate with no coordination, with an absence of early warning systems and no evacuation plan.
Some other challenges would be the mountainous terrain, the soft rock type, and the deep gorges Also, deforestation and mining for dams cause environmental effects.
The mega dams block the flow of rivers and use wide areas of land which previously provided runoff for the floodwaters.
One main culture within the organization was a type of overpowering culture where the Shenzhen, the hydrologist involved in the project, was concerned that the dam would dangerously raise the water tables and lead to disaster. Even though he repeatedly raised red flags, the government completely ignored him, especially when he suggested for 12 sluices for the drainage. The number was whittled down to 5. Finally, the government decided to remove him from the project because they considered him a right-wing opportunist, seeing how the communist government, so he basically had no type of say, and this was something they call the overpowering culture. Another culture within the organization would have to be the cover-up culture, where coming on to the ending of the disaster, little to no one knew about the disaster. This is because the government decided to cover up the disaster quite quickly, even within a month span. People, even in China, within their own country, don't even know about the disaster itself, far less for people outside the country, because again, the government covered up the disaster. Finally, one last culture within the organization was when the flooding had taken place and the communication lines went down, and the workers were forced to guess what they should do. This culture was called the poor management culture, and this is because why didn't the superiors decide to send a knowledgeable person down with the workers, just in case the lines had dropped? And even though they didn't do that, the workers had to guess what happened, guess what to do, instead of the superior saying, why couldn't you just open the gate or not open the gate to release the waters? But this wasn't the case, and the workers guessed, and the dam eventually burst.
The culture of the government was based on reckless, rapid, rushed dam development to create economic growth. It is documented that the allegations of corruption were well founded, while officials lined their pockets. Inferior quality of works and incompetent contractors were the order of the day. The taxation was more important to the government than paying heed to the tofu type of construction. The positive principles touted by the organization included its contribution to renewable energy, food control, economic development, and result in benefits to the people of China through industrial expansion, construction, and revenues. However, the damage to the environment and the dangers to life and infrastructure were only spoken of as areas of concern. In actuality, even though some resources were assigned to renovate and repair drains, they were never enough and are only dressing on the multiple wounds of shattered dams all along the rivers of the southwest and other areas of the country.
As future engineers of Trinidad and Tobago, guys, if you were an engineer during the years of 1975 when the Banqiao Dam incident occurred, would you conform to the pressures of the government or would you back away? Siobhan?
I believe as a new engineer being hired to work on the Banqiao project, I would conform because I won't be fully detailed with all the measures that the government is taking to get the project done. So if I realize that they're cutting costs, I know that they will still want to be done on that timely manner, and especially China with a strong structure to protect the people of China. So I believe I will conform, and after a certain amount of years, when I really establish myself and understand the full culture, then I will decide if I want to leave or if I want to stay or if I want to object to them culture and try to change it.
I would conform as a new engineer going to work in the Banqiao Dam construction, solely based on the fact that I'm going into new territory, which is a communist government, right? And as we all know, a lot of communist governments, their basically like dictatorships. So what they say goes, regardless. You could disagree with them how much you want, and at the end of the day, they have the last say, right? So I will always want to keep that in mind as a new engineer. So I will always be kind of skeptical whether I want to open my mouth or not. Even though I could disagree with them 100 times, I would kind of want to hush my mouth and I would conform with them and go with the flow, right? It might hurt me inside, but at the end of the day, I had to think. Let's say our family, I don't know what that so-called communist government might want to do if I disagree with them. It might not be as simple as just sending me home or sending me to a different city, right? They could kill you, they could, there are different things they could possibly do. And like I say, because it's a communist country, government, like they would keep it hush-hush and everybody would agree to them, agree to what they say. But that's just my take on how I see it, right?
Yeah, my belief, I'll conform, because that's how I'm a new recruit there and a new engineer. I won't know how the company is, as they said before. Yes, it is a communist government, but there are other ways to get out of that. Just try your best. The government only did this to make low resources to save money.
My belief is that, like, the values I grew up with, I really don't think I'll be happy with conforming to such things, because if I'm a new person coming into the company, I truly believe if I realize that certain things not up to par, like certain systems not in place, and the pressures of the pressure that I will have, right? Because I'm responsible for thousands and thousands of people. That will always be in the back of my head, saying like, I have to do my best to maintain the integrity of my work and in everything I do. So, and if I have the responsibility of thousands, I will try my best to do things to make sure that they are safe in the first place. So I would definitely not conform to that.
I understand where Justin coming from, but at the same time, I feel like it depends on the position and the situation. Because even if you're right here now thinking about it, in this situation, you might do something different. But if I was in this situation, his name Chengxing, right? With all the information he had, I believe that I would not conform. I would do the same as he did, give them the information, tell them it don't make sense going forward with it, and I conform to that. But if I'm an engineer, like, I'm more than one engineer. This man know everything, but you might not know nothing at all in any company. You most likely conform, as they will say, ignorance is bliss. So you don't have the knowledge enough to know what's going on top, because you use a small fish.
Especially a new engineer. Especially a new engineer.
Right? I say I would have not come. That's why I say I would have conformed, because since you knew, you're going to know the full culture of how the government does do business.
Remember, Chenzing was an experience in that field. He's the man.
Me, if I was in Chenzing's position, then when he spoke out against the government and he was like, well, I recommend 12 for these slush skates, soup skates, or thing. and then the government said, nah, we go in ahead and put 5 because we think that's enough. And they sent him to work somewhere else. Instead of just staying quiet, I would say something to the population, because to me personally, being a young engineer, knowing that how the first construction on the bridge, how it had cracks and it failed, and that to bring in the Soviet Union engineers to kind of help with the situation. I know it was not already a strong structure. I would have tried to at least warn the public or the people closest to where the disaster happened, to kind of save some people now.
At least have a plan in place.
Yeah.
But on that same note, I can't do that quiet, because on Germany's point is a communist.
It's a communist.
So if I
keep in mind.
And at the end of the day, still gonna keep conform.
Keep
conform.
I personally
conform to the organization, but you went and tell the people, so it's like you conform, but you're not.
He didn't conform because he told them he never went ahead and say, well, alright, or they could go ahead and do that. He was like, no, I'm not going on with it.
Right.
And that is why I didn't let him go, because he was not standing outside.
Nice Chenzing. Like Chenzing. You was a new engineer, right? Keep that on. You see new engineers in the field.
But at the end of the day, everybody have a choice to make.
So
it always come back to your values.
It always,
whatever you do,
but at the same
it's
time,
on you.
That is why I say, after a period of time, when you really get to know the culture, then you can start to make strides on changing the culture.
But still, you might end up just falling deep into it and you can't come out of it. So when you try to speak out, it'll be like, wait, what? Just
right? When you decide to say, okay, I want 12 of these splices or whatever, right? And they say no, we're going with 5 because we had to cut costs and whatnot. We had to build in a certain time, right? Possibility of them killing you, right? Possibility of them locking you up in jail for life. You're not going to see a family or nothing. Would you really conform, or you wouldn't conform?
We are speaking about 171,000 lives here. If I knew that this dam structure will not sustain,
but you didn't know. That's the thing.
we knew that when even though I'm a new engineer, I specialize in this for something, right? So I should know when it's building, what design is going into the building, and if I know that they didn't do it the way it should have been done, then something I would have stand up and do something about it. We are speaking about 171,000 lives.
They will know because
I would have not conformed to that pressure.
She will know because she's an engineer, and what she learned in school, if certain things don't add up, if you don't do certain things, this is the outcome. It could lead to something, right? So she will know, even though the disaster didn't happen yet, you know what could happen still.
So try to get out it in some kind of way. I'll still speak out about it. Just keep on making recommendations. You'll be like, if it's 12, we need to say, well, they need 12.
True.
Even though the structures are better, they say that the technology is better to alert people. Why I would want to alert somebody when I can prevent it from happening?
Because given the situation in a communist country, and that you now knew and not knowing, or if you know that they have these problems, you would conform. If, like he said, for a while, you wouldn't stay all the time because of your values. It depends on the individual to know if you would stay or not. But in my case, I would conform because I have no other choice but to conform because I'm new to within the organization and when they listen to it.
This is Banqiao,
Well,
not Trinidad, on the disaster situation. The real question is, would you conform or not conform?